There are of course, intercultural difficulties as well as language difficulties, he said. There are of course also many Australian students who don't speak such fantastically good English either. Termites, the tiny creature, have learned to create a comfortable home in some of the world's toughest climates. Outside, in the African savanna, the temperatures vary from 40 degrees in the day to 1 degree at night. Yet, inside the mound, the temperature stays constant. Low Earth orbit is now more accessible for more people to experience the wonders of space, tweeted NASA Administrator Bill Nelson, who was a congressman when he hitched a ride on a space shuttle decades ago. In ancient Athens, a boy was socially located by his family identity, and Plato often refers to his characters in terms of their paternal and fraternal relationships. Socrates was not a family man and saw himself as the son of his mother, who was apparently a midwife. It is very easy to acquire bad habits, such as eating too many sweets or too much food, or drinking too much fluid of any kind, or smoking, etc. The more we do a thing, the more we tend to like doing it. In later stage, if we do not continue to do it, we feel unhappy. This is called the force of habit, and the force of habit should be fought against. A meteorite that fell on Earth more than a century ago may contain some of the first concrete evidence for a cosmic mash-up in the early solar system. Following the birth of our Sun 45 billion years ago, it is thought that Jupiter's formation caused two reservoirs of asteroids to gather in the solar system, one inside the giant planet's orbit and one outside. Smartphones have become an everyday essential for millions of us. We rely on them for everything from updating our social media profiles to banking. Taking out a smartphone contract that bundles together your calls, data, and texts with the cost of the handset can help spread the cost, but can also mean you'll pay more over the long run. The Earth just had the hottest month in recorded history, and it's even worse than normal. The record comes in a run of unprecedentedly hot months. Not only does it break through the all-time record set a year before, it also continues a now 10-month-long streak of months that are the hottest ever according to NASA data. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration calculate temperatures slightly different. During the early modern period, the universities of Europe would see a tremendous amount of growth, productivity, and innovative research. At the end of the Middle Ages, about 400 years after the first European university was founded, there were 29 universities spread throughout Europe. Since 2003, borrowing for education advanced faster, in percentage terms, than all other types of consumer debt that includes mortgages, auto loans and credit cards, data from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York show. As of the fourth quarter, student loans represented 10.5% of a record $13 trillion in household debt, up from 3.3% at the start of 2003. The main production of soft drink was stored in 1830s. Since then, from those experimental beginning, there was an evolution until in 1781 when the world's first cola-flavored beverage was introduced. These drinks were called soft drinks, only to separate them from hard alcoholic drinks. Today, soft drink is more favorite refreshment drink than tea, coffee, juice, etc. Newer sites usually are more accessible than older ones. Many facility owners and operators may not have the experience or knowledge to determine the level of accessibility on their sites. If they have never received any complaints, they may mistakenly assume that no problems exist. Inspect all areas of the site carefully to make an accurate assessment of its level of accessibility. Human beings most certainly contribute to climate change by adding greenhouse gases to the atmosphere, but this is only part of the equation. Earth's climate can change over time not only because of changes in the atmosphere but also because of interactions between the atmosphere and various geologic, chemical, biological, and geographic factors. Internet interruptions caused by extreme weather events sap billions of dollars annually from the global economy and can interfere with the delivery of essential data and services by governments, utilities, and first responders. A Boston-based startup is trying to address that problem by applying climate resilience and adaptation principles to the Internet, which experts say is vulnerable to climate change. Some of the pain patients may become hooked. Or their meds may find their way to friends or relatives who take them recreationally. Or a prescription opioid user may transition to heroin. Heroin is just another opioid drug, so the brain doesn't distinguish whether it comes from a pharmacy from a street drug dealer. line engraving on metal, which, to a great extent, was a development of the goldsmith's craft of ornamenting armor and precious metals, did not emerge as a printmaking technique until well into the 15th century. Copper, the metal mainly used for engraving, was expensive, and engraving itself was laborious and took a long time. Sibling bullying associated with poor mental health outcomes years later. Scientists found sibling bullying in early adolescence, irrespective of whether the individual was a victim perpetrator, or both, has a long-term effect on both positive and negative mental health in late adolescence. The Bermuda Triangle is a mythical section of the Atlantic Ocean roughly bounded by Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, where dozens of ships and airplanes have disappeared. Unexplained circumstances surround some of these accidents, including one in which the pilots of a squadron of U.S. Navy bombers became disoriented while flying over the area. The planes were never found. Located at the heart of two world-famous cities, Liverpool and London, Liverpool's excellence in teaching, learning and research, first-class facilities and outstanding support places the university in the top 1% of universities worldwide. The University of Liverpool will provide you with an inspiring student experience, in a diverse international community. To reduce pollution, it is essential that the town center becomes a car-free zone. A ring road should be built so that cars are diverted away from the town center. The main shopping streets could be converted into a pedestrianized area. If trees and flowers are planted, the town center will be transformed into a quiet and green space where residents can enjoy shopping and walking in a healthy environment. Many non-Japanese know a thing or two about traditional tea ceremony, its history, intricacies, and religious origins. However, few people outside Japan have a deep understanding of the esoteric meaning of the practice. Indeed, even in Japan, the secret meaning of tea ceremony is little understood except by those who have devoted their lives to the discipline. An avalanche is rapidly descending large mass of snow, ice, soil, rock, or mixtures of these materials, sliding or falling in response to the force of gravity. Avalanches, which are natural forms of erosion and often seasonal, are usually classified by their content such as a debris or snow avalanche. We acknowledge all the information and memory notes provided by students. We also acknowledge open source from various books and journal articles. All questions and answers are prepared and annotated by the Australian Institute of Language. All rights reserved, not for any commercial purposes, but for personal study only. Smoke from Australia's Black Summer bushfires of 2019 to 2020, which burned through 18 million hectares of land, produced a phytoplankton bloom larger than the entire country of Australia located in the Southern Ocean. NASA confirms thousands of massive, ancient volcanic eruptions on Mars. Scientists found evidence that a region of northern Mars called Arabia Terra experienced thousands of super eruptions, the biggest volcanic eruptions known, over a 500 million year period. Housing fulfills the basic needs that people have for security, privacy, and shelter. While the adequacy of housing is an important component of individual well-being, housing also has great impact on the nation's economy, with its influence on investment levels, interest rates, building activity, and employment. I've seen no evidence to suggest that students are not able to complete their courses because they're failing in English, yet they're being passed by the universities, she said. I've not seen any evidence to back that up. International education is one of our largest exports, it's our fourth largest export, and it's in the interest of our universities to maintain very high standards because their reputation is at stake. Domestic violence increased during lockdown in the United States. A new study, published in Psychology of Violence, looks at rates of intimate partner violence during the pandemic in the United States. Like data from the UK, it suggests that domestic violence increased during lockdown. Do something you are very passionate about and do not try to chase what is considered the hot passion of the day. People say you have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing, and it's totally true. You have to do it over a sustained period of time. So, if you don't love it, you're going to give up. Many families are fleeing their native countries due to sectarian repression and political uprisings. Consequently, thousands of people have been stranded in foreign lands for months. Other families have gone missing in the sea, marooned in small boats, as the neighboring foreign countries refuse to take them in.